Hey guys, Jinx here, and today I want to show you an easy way to beat the 11th raid of the Lunar New Year event, Excadrill. I'll start by going over the locations of the dens, the mechanics of the fight, the general strategy, and then finish with an example of our run. The locations you can find the raid den at are Kanto's Victory Road, Johto's Victory Road, Hoenn's Victory Road, Sinnoh's Route 204, or Unova's Twist Mountain. I find Hoenn's Victory Road the easiest to get to. You'll just go straight north from the entrance. The mechanics of the fight are that throughout the whole fight there will be Sandstorm. You can't reduce this, you can't get rid of it, however you can use Cloud 9 if you want, but it's not really worth it in this fight. The ability that Excadrill has is Sand Rush, making him twice as fast in the Sandstorm. His item is White Herb, which makes the first stat drop you give him not counted. At 75%, he'll use Swords Dance. At 50%, he'll use a protective shield that requires a stat drop to get through, and at 20%, he'll use Swords Dance once again. The general strategy you're going to want to bring for this fight is to ensure that all of your Pokemon are speed 210 at level 80. You can double check this in the stat screen, just make sure you adjust it to level 80 and only bring Pokemon that are 210 or above. This is because Excadrill will have a base speed of 209 and will have Sand Rush, so it'll be double speed. If you bring 210 speed Pokemon, then set Tailwind, you'll outspeed him and not have to worry about his ability. If you have to bring anything below 210 speed, you can just throw a Choice Scarf on it to speed it up. You're going to want to lead this fight with Tailwind and Intimidate. That's pretty much all you need to do in the lead of the fight. The Tailwind is to balance out against the Sand Rush, and the Intimidate is to proc the White Herb so that we don't have to worry about it later when we're trying to get through the Protective Shield. Some good picks for this are Gyarados, Arcanine, or Crocodile, since they'll all have Stab, super effective moves, and Intimidate. Other than that, you're pretty much just going to want to spam Fire, Water, and Fighting attacks. It doesn't really matter if you go physical or special attacks here. His special and physical defense are pretty much the same, and he doesn't get the bonus special defense from the Sandstorm because he doesn't have rock typing. So pretty much any Fire, Water, or Fighting attackers are viable here. You could also use ground type attackers. Just remember Earthquake gets down to 70% power because it's being used on a multi-battle. The final mechanic we care about is the Protective Shield, which happens at 50%. You're going to need some coordination with your team, and you need to decide between Fake Tears or Screech before you hit 50%. If you use Fake Tears, then you can use special attacks to break through the shield, or if you use Screech, you can use physical attacks to break through the shield. It doesn't matter which one you use, however it is important to make sure that you use one of them before you get to 50%. We just used ours on turn 2, and it lasted all the way through until the Protective Shield broke. I'd recommend waiting until turn 3 to do this, but it's pretty flexible here. If you're solo queuing this, make sure you bring one of these, and if you are solo queuing, definitely bring a mix of physical and special attackers, and then you can check out what the other people on your team are bringing, and if they have a Fake Tears user, then save your special attackers, and if they have a Screecher, then save your physical attackers for this time. Each of you only really needs to land one attack on the Protective Shield with the corresponding minus defense stat to break through. And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at how our run went. So to start out, we have the Gyarados with Intimidate proccing the White Herb right away. We also have a Murkrow just to set Tailwind, and then 2 attackers. I don't really recommend using Earthquake users in this fight because multi-target attacks are only 70% power in these types of fights. So here, Earthquake is down to 70 power, so it's a little bit weaker. It's still totally usable, however, it's just not as strong as something like Close Combat or a Flare Blitz. And here you can see, even though it's super early, we threw our Fake Tears user in. I wouldn't necessarily recommend just doing this on turn 2, however it worked out totally fine for us. Usually you'll want to save this for turn 3 just so that you don't have him shrug off the special defense drop. Again, you can absolutely just throw a Murkrow with Screech or any other Screech user in here, and then just follow up with physical attacks once the 50% hits. From here on, we're pretty much just going to be spamming a mix of ground, fire, fighting, and water attacks. If you have any good brine users, you can bring them in after the 50% mark. That's what I did here for the Protective Shield, just so that we could get through it, because that's a good way to make use of your water Pokemon. I don't recommend using attacks with less than 100% accuracy, just because you have so many options in this fight. Literally any of, I know I've said it a couple times, but literally anything from Close Combat to Brine to Earth Power or even Earthquake, even though it's a bit weaker, are totally viable here. Flamethrower mons are great, so it's not really worth risking the accuracy miss or wasting a whole turn using Defog or Sweet Scent or a Miracle Eye to increase your accuracy here. Just rely on your 100% accuracy moves, and you should make it through just fine. And we make it through the Protective Shield, and we pretty much just ignore the Sword Stance because we expect to get knocked out every turn. You can pretty much expect this fight to finish with you being with no Pokemon left, and that's totally fine. We're not doing this fight in a way that we should be surviving multiple turns. We're doing this in a way that's really efficient because you should just be hitting for about 4.5 to 6% every turn. As long as you have decent attackers, this should be no problem to get through. If you don't have very many Flamethrower, Close Combat, Brine, or Flare Blitz users, then you can absolutely use that Sweet Scent, Defog, or Miracle Eye accuracy boost and use Overheat or High Jump Kick or any of those other lower accuracy moves like Hydro Pump. Just don't overthink it. You don't really need to maximize your attack here. It's really not that hard to hit the damage cap or at least do enough damage where that warrants wasting a whole turn setting up accuracy for. And just like that, Excadrill is down, nice and easy. And let's see what we get this time. Calm and 2 times 31, another male, nothing too special. If this video helped you out, make sure to sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic rest of your day.